A big question I had on my mind when I was going through chemotherapy was, when should I work out? When is it okay for me to work out? So I'm going to be speaking on my personal experience today, just sharing some things that I found through my chemotherapy journey so that maybe you can apply some of these things to your experience and then it'll help you. So let's get into it. I really found that my chemotherapy was like a roller coaster. It wasn't a steady state. For me, I felt at the top of my game the day of chemotherapy. Then the next day was a little bit worse. Days 3, 4, and 5 for me were headed down, kind of at the bottom. Depending on which treatment I was doing, 6 and 7 could stay at the bottom. But then I got back to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and I'm back at the top, feeling my best again right before chemotherapy day 1. So that was my experience. So, my recommendation to you is maybe make a journal or make a note on your phone what days you feel okay and what days you do not feel well at all. Then, when you're moving through your next cycle of your chemotherapy, you can kind of plan out what days are good to work out, what days you feel like you have more energy and you feel stronger. So, going through mine, day 1 chemotherapy, I needed to work out that day. I needed it for my mental health. And I always made sure that no matter what time my chemotherapy was that day, that I was going to get up early and I was going to get my workout in because I felt strongest. But I also know that I needed it for my mental health to take on that day of chemotherapy. I am someone who is quite afraid of needles and IVs. So even just that mental preparation, just getting my vibes up to feel strong to take on that part of my journey, getting my workout in helped with that so much. Day 2, when I woke up the next day after chemo, I was typically still feeling pretty good. I think I still had the steroids surging in my body as a part of my chemotherapy regimen. I would get up and work out that day. Depending on how I felt, day 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, um, I would usually do some sort of activity that day personally because I needed it for my mental health. Um, but it would quite often be something more gentle. So perhaps I would do a slow restorative yoga, or I would follow a stretching video. Just something that was, it got me up, it got me out of bed, it got me moving my body, but I wasn't overly taxing my body during that time. And then as I got into the second week, so day 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, my energy, as I said, would start to go back up and my strength. So I would increase the intensity of my workouts during those days where I started to feel better. And once again, day 14 was right before day 1, where I felt at the top of my chemo game. Not the top of my game in life, but typically that's when I felt the strongest. So, my recommendation to you is really pay attention and listen to your body. On days that you feel well, do things that support that, maybe higher intensity depending on how you're feeling. On days where you're feeling really tired and taxed and just perhaps garbage, I felt like garbage a lot of days. um, Perhaps be a little bit more gentle. And the other part of it is, just as a side note, for me, mornings are the time of the day where I feel most mentally and physically strong. So I like to get up and do my workouts right away. But once again, it's a personal thing. So perhaps mid morning, mid afternoon, or evening, whatever time you feel you're strongest, both mentally and physically, I would recommend doing your workouts at that point in the day. Thank you again for joining me here today. Hit subscribe to come along on this journey with me as I continue to share what helped me, as well as what's going on in my life presently moving forward from active treatment. I believe in you, friends. You've got this. Sending so much love, and I'll see you next time.